Yo, what is good, everybody? It's your boy Golden Falls, Golden What If, whatever you want to call me, and I'm back. I'm back with What If Deku had a video game Quirk, the finale, and I'm super sorry that it took me this long to actually make the next part or the finale of this What If. Honestly, everything kind of just got caught up in different What Ifs. Like I was high demand on like certain what ifs, so that overtook that, and I just didn't get around to making this video. But I'm finally here making it. I'm sorry for the wait, but yeah, this is the finale, and I'm not gonna waste any more of your time because y'all have waited long enough. So let's just get right into the what if. Let's get it. When the Master Ball hits the ground, a Pokemon with the long blue tail appears. This is Mewtwo, my trump card for this final fight. Mewtwo then tells them telepathically that he is ready to move when they are. They both nod and they start levitating, and Mewtwo flies with both Hina and Midoriya toward All Might. All three of them charge at All Might, but even with the three of them, All Might can still hold them off. Midoriya gathers electricity from all around him and jumps straight up into the air and dives toward All Might. Mewtwo holds him still, and when he lands, a giant explosion can be seen. The smoke clears, and All Might stands with half of his clothes burnt off.
That was impressive, but it seems like your trump card didn't work.
See, All Might, you always make sure to have a trump card to your trump card. Hina then lifts her wrist, and a gemstone can be seen, and she clicks it, and a light begins to glimmer from it. Mewtwo's gem as well begins to glimmer, and All Might looks on in shock. Now, Hina! Midoriya begins to shock All Might, and Hina and Mewtwo X charges at him, punching him in the face and putting cuffs on his arm. Hina and Midoriya pass. Midoriya calls back Mewtwo, and they both hug in celebration. All Might slowly gets up and says how proud he is of their development and teamwork. The class is then told by Aizawa that pass or fail, everyone is going to the Forest Lodge, and to make sure to get ready by tomorrow. Everyone leaves, and the next day they head on the bus. They all arrive at a cliff and are greeted by the Wild Wild Pussycats. But when they arrive, after the introductions themselves, they introduce themselves and such, Class 1B and their bus goes by them. The class looks in shock and realizes what this means. The cliff begins to turn into waves and they all get thrown off. Midoriya throws his Alakazam out and he catches the entire class. Everyone okay? The class nods and they begin making their way through the forest, fending off various monsters that were created to stop them. After hours, they finally make it to the training camp and Aizawa greets them.
Okay, problem children, go get cleaned up and eat, and tomorrow the real training begins.
They all agree and head out. After getting a good night's rest, Aizawa wakes them up early and explains what the plan is for the entire camp.
Okay, listen, you all haven't been truly training your quirks, so that is what we'll be doing.
Aizawa tells each student what they need to do and eventually gets to Midoriya.
Your quirk is tricky, kid, but you should try and figure out more about this white-haired form and see if maybe you can control it.
I don't know if that's a good idea, Aizawa, but I can use other forms that I learned, but I think the form kinda is a built-in rejection of my body. Aizawa nods and tells him to work on any forms he wants. Midoriya heads off and begins training. The whole class can hear screaming, and the ground begins to shake, and a gold glimmer can be seen from the distance away. Okay, now this is more doable, and it increases my strength a ton, but charging this up in a real battle may not be practical. For the next week, the class trains and works on their quirks, eventually leading to the end of their time at the Forest Lodge. Aizawa gathers everyone up and basically leaves. Midoriya sleeps on the bus with Hina, from basically all the strain he's been going through using his Super Saiyan form and trying to transcend that form into a safe and manageable way, but unfortunately not really finding a good use out of it. Yes, it does increase his strength and overall endurance and stuff, but transforming takes so long that he feels that it might not actually be doable in the end.
Class, we'll be at UA very soon.
Everyone's phones begin to buzz as Aizawa says this, and everyone sees All Might fighting All For One in the middle of a city near them. Aizawa tells the bus driver to do a minor detour to avoid the fight, and they have to stop at a nearby place and begin watching the TV. As they watch, it seems like All Might may actually lose this fight. Hina begins crying and Midoriya holds her hand. Aizawa, I can help. I can help him.
Kid, you know I can't let you do that.
You can't go out there. What if it's not me that goes? Aizawa looks in confusion, but then realizes what he's saying, and Aizawa nods. Midoriya throws out his Master Ball and Mewtwo appears.
What do you need, Midoriya?
Well, Mewtwo, I won't be there to guide you, but you need to help All Might, and I can teleport you to him if you need.
No need, I can get there myself.
Sounds good. I will activate your Mega Stone when you arrive. Mewtwo teleports away and arrives on the scene. The class sees Midoriya tap on his wrist with a Mega Stone, and Mewtwo begins to change. All Might looks up and smiles.
What's so funny, All Might? Your own death that amusing?
All Might buffs his right arm, ready for his last clash with All For One. They charge at each other, but All For One is about to connect, but he is frozen in place. All Might lands his final punch with the last embers of One For All and knocks him out cold. He then points at the camera as Mewtwo teleports back and Midoriya tells him he did good. He re-enters his Master Ball and Midoriya just smiles at Hina and she hugs him, thanking him for helping. After some time off, classes are finally resumed and UA is actually moved into dorms, well, for their student safety. And from the knowledge of Midoriya, nobody actually knows that he helped All Might, and he's actually fine with that because he knows that if word got out, he could get into serious trouble. Aizawa enters the class and explains that they'll be working on their super moves, and 2 days from now they will be participating in the Provisional Hero License exam. Everyone nods and heads to the gym, but he stops Midoriya.
Not you, kid. Here, this is an address a car will be taking you to. The car will be taking you there soon.
Am I in trouble, Aizawa?
I was told not to tell you anything, but you'll be there for a while.
Midoriya looks in confusion and just heads to the car. A man takes him to what looks like an agency, and when he enters, he's greeted by a girl that is known as Bubble Girl, and she brings him into an office. She leaves saying Sir Night-Eye will be with him soon. He says okay, but then realizes what she just said. Sir Night-Eye. What could he want? He enters the room a couple minutes later and sits on his desk.
So you're Izuku Midoriya, huh?
Yes. Am I in trouble, Sir Night-Eye? Actually, quite the opposite. I want to thank you for your assistance in helping All Might. Midoriya tries to say that wasn't him, but Night-Eye tells him that All Might already told him otherwise. Well, I appreciate the praise, Night-Eye, but Aizawa said I would be here mostly for the next 2 weeks or so? I was kind of confused when he sent me that message. Yeah, kid, here. Night-Eye throws him a card and it says Provisional Hero License on it. Whoa, are you serious? Yep, Aizawa thought it was the best way of repayment as well. On top of that, I would like to offer you a work study position in my agency. I need you to find something or someone. Okay, what do you need? Night-Eye reveals a board with all the information on Overhaul and the Shiha Zaikai. I need you to find this man, or at least help in the search. I heard your Quirk can do some amazing things. Yeah, just give me some time and I should be able to find him. Thank you, Midoriya. Now, let me know if you need anything. Midoriya for the next couple days began creating devices and analyzing all the data he could find on Overhaul until he found certain locations that he actually has been seen at. He set up invisible cameras and waited for a ping. He didn't sleep for days. Night Eye would always come into his office and tell him to sleep, but Midoriya knew that this was practically the only chance of finding him. His cameras were straight from one of his favorite video games, allowing him to shoot a tracking dart at someone. So he waited and waited until Overhaul finally showed himself in one of his cameras. Midoriya shot the tracking dart, in which blended in with his clothing. Night Eye, you need to come to the agency. Midoriya hangs up and Night Eye enters. Midoriya throws a tracker to him. That is where you'll find Overhaul. I need to sleep now. Wake me up when you're ready to invade. Night Eye smiles and tells Midoriya good job, and Midoriya crashes out after staying up for straight up 3 days. After sleeping for a while, Midoriya is sent to a conference room where tons of heroes and even some of his classmates, including Hina, are residing. He sat next to her and asked what agency she's with, and she said Night Eye's agency, but Midoriya had been so caught up in finding Overhaul, he didn't even realize she was there. I'm so sorry, Hina, I didn't mean to. She cuts him off and smiles, saying that he did a good job and she wouldn't be mad about that. Night Eye asked Midoriya to stand and explain how he found his info. Midoriya explains the process he went through, and the heroes are impressed and ask Night Eye when they're going to invade. Well, we're gonna go early in the morning tomorrow in groups, so be ready for a fight. Everyone agrees, and the next morning they all meet up and head to the base of the Shiha Zaikai. The police officer tells them to wait for him to read them their rights and get ready to approach. Midoriya begins to feel his Pokeballs shaking in excitement, thinking that this is the first real mission as a hero squad. You ready, kid? You know it. The heroes invade the hideout and begin searching, but are quickly split up, so Midoriya sends out Mewtwo to help with their mobility. Night Eye and Mirio are with Midoriya, and they begin proceeding through the hideout while the rest of the heroes distract and fight off other villains. They come to a corridor and they see Overhaul leaving with a little girl. Mirio charges at him, punching him and sending him into a giant room. Mirio begins fighting Overhaul, and Midoriya gets his Charizard to basically escort the little girl with Night Eye out of the building. To make sure she's safe first, Night Eye, then come back to help us. Night Eye nods and runs off with Eri and Charizard. Midoriya joins the fight and begins electrocuting Overhaul. Overhaul sends spikes at him, which graze him, but Mirio is able to counter and attack as well. Hacker, are you okay? Yes, I'm fine, Lemillion. Stay focused. Midoriya and Mirio attack Overhaul together, and Midoriya outmatches him in pure martial arts by a lot. Overhaul is able to use his quirk to his advantage. A bullet then flies toward Mirio, and Midoriya jumps in the way, taking the hit, because he realized Mirio wouldn't be able to react in time to phase through it. Normally, this wouldn't be a problem. Actually, from multiple video games, he's pretty bullet resistant, but this one was different. Hacker, what happened? The man who shot the bullet is then charged at by Mewtwo and knocked out. Mewtwo then basically is pissed and is about to charge at Overhaul. You hurt Midoriya, now you will pay. Mewtwo begins to beat on Overhaul pretty badly, and this is without even being Mega Evolved. But Mewtwo then begins to glitch out and disappears. What? Lemillion, my quirk is... Mewtwo then fully disappears, and even Charizard as well with Night Eye, he actually disappears as well. And Night Eye sees this and begins to worry. Mirio attacks Overhaul, but Overhaul still has some life in him. He sends spikes at Mirio, but they were actually directed for Midoriya. Mirio pushes Midoriya out of the way, but gets hit pretty good by the spikes. Mirio! No, we had this one. Dumb kid. Beat me? You have to be joking. Midoriya stands in front of Mirio and walks toward Overhaul. What are you going to do? You're quirkless, kid. Midoriya shakes his head and realizes that he could win this with everything he has learned to this point. Overhaul tries to touch him, but his martial arts begins to show. Midoriya begins hitting all over Overhaul's vital points and moving around him in an amazing way. It's like his fighting alone felt untouchable. It seemed as if his body was currently moving on its own. Midoriya realized that losing all of this, his power and everything, truly unlocked something special. A true Ultra Instinct, but not one from a video game. Something only a true martial artist could learn. Overhaul grew frustrated until he finally touched Midoriya, but nothing happened. Overhaul looked in shock and a huge grin was on Midoriya's face. I canceled your quirk. Frankly, wasn't sure if it would work, but I'm not dead, so obviously it did. Midoriya chops his neck really hard, knocking him out and cuffing him with quirk canceling cuffs. Midoriya looks at Mirio and throws up the thumbs up and smiles, but then passes out from exhaustion. He wakes up days later to everyone standing around him. Hey, what's happening? Hina runs over and hugs him. I'm fine, don't worry. She doesn't say a word and just keeps crying. And then Aizawa speaks. Kid, you know you're quirkless, right? Yeah, I do, but it's okay. They all look in shock and he just pats Hina's head. Being a hero is still my goal, and frankly, being the number one is still my goal. Hina tells him that without a quirk, it's gonna be a lot more dangerous, but he cuts her off and says that he was never concerned about the danger. Honestly, being a hero is important to me, even if that means just saving one person. I mean, as long as UA still accepts me as a quirkless student. Aizawa smiles and nods, saying, of course they would. Okay then, time to be the first quirkless hero. Midoriya smiles wide in excitement, and everyone around him does so as well, knowing that Midoriya, of all people, can be the one who can break the mold of hero society. And that is it. It's a wrap. It's over for this What If, for What If Deku had a video game quirk. If you enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe. Also comment down below any future What Ifs, suggestions, stuff like that. Yeah, again, sorry that it took so long to post this and make it. Got really preoccupied with other things in terms of like the What Ifs I've been doing, but yeah, series is over now, and I'm not sure if I'll go into the manga or go into like the next part, which is like the class 1B and stuff like that. I was kind of waiting for the next season to be over before I start doing stuff like that, because it would make these series a lot longer. But we'll see. If this video gets enough attention, then I might end up going into the manga / next season. But we'll see. But would it really be a video game quirk at that point? He is quirkless, right? But I'll leave it at that. And like I said, I hope you all enjoyed, and have an amazing day. Later.